It's another Wednesday, time for AM Business. The Agric sector is set for a major uplift as the Ghana Investment Promotion Center works to attract more investors to the sector. Progress in Ghana's agriculture sector over the years has seen a decline due to a number of factors, with one being the lack of credits and investment. But today, we'll see how industry players are working to direct credits and investment into agribusiness.
Over the years, access to finance has been the bane of agriculture in Ghana. Many financial institutions are still adamant at extending credit to farmers for the perceived risk factor. Statistics indicate barely 10% of banks' portfolios support agri sector financing. Underlying factors for the spate of low credit and investment is the lack of proper management and resources, which make it more difficult to convince financial institutions to give out funds. The lack of funds is particularly prevalent among smallholder farmers.
If you're looking at the microfinance level, they are doing more than 40, 50, 60%. If you look at the universal banks, they are doing average of about 15%. You can probably have one or two. I know the Barclays, for instance, is doing about 11% agribusiness financing. EcoBank is doing around that figure. ADB is doing about 30, 33%. But when you average all these financial institutions together, you are talking about 10 to 15%, which is not good enough.
Where we see the most challenges are with smallholder farms. You know, they are small, they don't have resources to hire the right talent, they don't have resources to hire the right technology, they don't have capital, they don't, you don't have farms that have land tenure, so they can, they can own large farms, so they can actually afford to invest in certain things. So I think the biggest area of risk is in smallholder farms, but that's also the core part of our agriculture sector. So I think what we need is to find solutions for that, whether it's through government, some government intervention alongside cooperatives and other things.
Agriculture and agribusiness remain at the top of development and business agenda in the country. The responsibility for creating that conducive environment to attract investors and financial institutions rests on both government and agribusiness operators themselves.
There is a public sector role and there are community roles. The public sector role, in our view, is one, to ensure that the key infrastructure needs for agriculture are invested in. That's organizing the water system, whether it is flood waters, whether it is irrigation, whether it is underground water system. That already reduces one big risk for a commercial farmer because they wouldn't have to depend on the rain. And everywhere in the world, irrigation infrastructure is the responsibility of the government sector. Now, government has announced the one village, one dam concept. That is not literally every village has a small dam, but it is a policy that says we want to prioritize irrigation.
First of all, right, having the right enabling environment helps the smallholder. So whether it's, if you look at something like cold storage, right, having cold storage in areas that are producing the types of products that need cold storage, whether it's fruits and vegetables and so on, that would actually go bad if they are not stored properly. Having adequate roads, having financial institutions that are willing to support the smallholders, maybe with some government intervention. I think you want a private sector solution.
Already, initiatives like the Planting for Food and Jobs, the One District, One Factory, among others, may have set Ghana on the right path to developing its agriculture and agribusiness base. With persistent advocacy, it seems financial sector players are making efforts to improve agric and agribusiness funding. The Exim Bank, for instance, is one of such key players.
I think that the Agricultural Development Bank can play a bigger role once it's, improved its balance sheet and go out there to focus on agriculture. I know that today the Exim Bank is also focusing on agricultural growth and looking to support exporters in the agri sector. So there are some significant happenings in the agri sector. We need to refocus and keep it alive.
Beyond government intervention, the private sector also has a huge role to play. According to the Chief Executive Officer of the GIPC, Yofi Grant, his outfit continues to attract more investors into the country to explore further developments.
When we do go on our investment trips, and very soon we are going to come out with our own sort of teaser on agriculture and the potential and opportunity in agriculture, as we are doing with the other sectors of the economy. But when we do go out, we highlight agriculture as one of our priority areas, agriculture and agro-processing. And we have had some significant interest, some from South Africa, from Asia, even from Europe, who think that Ghana is an interesting place to come and do stuff in agriculture. In the past, we've had some big players like VegPro from Kenya come over here to do vegetables and horticulture for export. Because Ghana is situated very well. We are in the middle of the world, but access to the European markets, to the African markets, even to the US markets, is much quicker than some of the other countries. And so if you plant products that have a short shelf life, this is a place where you probably do that and then export them out there for the market. So we do highlight the opportunities. I must say that agriculture already has, significant incentives, tax-free, for your products and your corporate gains. There are a lot of incentives already in agriculture. What has really been lacking is investment. So we need to make agriculture attractive. For want of a better word, we need to make agriculture sexy so that people would want to go into agriculture.
The USAID Financing Ghana Agriculture Project is one of such investments, and already over 130 million has been dispersed to farmers in parts of the northern regions. More is still being done to get other financial institutions on board.
There are lots of these universal banks who are also facilitating financing. Of course, for prudent financial management, they will look out for some of these collateral. But they will tell them, look, that one is not the primary focus. The primary focus is that it's a very good deal, one. Do you have the requisite market? Two, what are those people behind those businesses? And by so doing, we've been able to support some of these financial institutions to close some deals. And they've also improved on their turnaround time. So I believe that the way forward is that let's be honest with the banks. And the banks are also open now.
According to a recent report by the World Bank Group, Africa's farmers and agribusiness could create $1 trillion food market by 2030 if they can expand their access to extra capital, electricity, better technology, and irrigated farmland. And for Ghana to have its share of this $1 trillion cake, adequate funds flowing through the various financial institutions and investors will play a significant role.
And that's it for AM Business this week. It's brought to us by EcoBank. Make sure you join us every Wednesday, every midweek. We do AM Business here on the show, courtesy EcoBank. All right, coming up right after this is AM Talk. Our guest already seated, the Honorable Emmanuel Chiramanting Ejaku is Member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wagon constituency. He's on the show this morning alongside the former Member of Parliament for North Dai, who is also a private legal practitioner. Mr. George Lowe is also in the studio this morning. And Roland Walker is all set to engage them. One conversation that's likely to come up is something that we did way back in June, which is making headlines again. Ghana, at the time, this is how we headlined it. Ghana likely to go for referendum. There you go. Go for referendum on district chief executive election proposals. And in the story, we said in 2019, but there's been different versions of this and different things attributed to the man who granted us this interview when we did the story back in June, the Deputy Local Government Minister now, Honorable Obiamwa. So they'll be talking about it alongside many other issues making headlines here in our country. So you know what to do. You've got to stick with us. This is the AM show. Stay with us.